Okay, yeah, Daily Chaos coming up in about 10 minutes, folks. So if you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward a bit. Otherwise, bit of music for you, whatever. I don't know. Okay, 10 minutes. Yeah.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey, Tess.
Hello.
I'll put you back in the green room for a few minutes, all right?
No.
All right.
You could be out here to see what's behind these closed doors. But I
James Gorin. Come on, James. Come and give us a song, mate. Come on. Keep it together. Oh yeah. Whelan's popped in. He's got some news. Colin, guv.li/rant, mate. Oh, he's there. He's there. Oh. Fine. Don't know how you did that. Bloody maybe they are missing. Oh, Struth. About time. Blimey. Hold on. There we go. Let me up, girl.
I can hear you better.
How about now?
Yeah, you're really quiet.
Oi, oi. Hey, Colin, Tess, hold on. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Daily Chaos. The show ain't daily. The chaos is. It's a Monday. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. Tess Hunter Decoy, aka Tess Angel, throws a light on the role of her group, the Child Protection Officers, and of the changes in the law they're campaigning for. That's Hunter Decoy now. That Colin Worrell's popped in too. He's got an update for us. Yeah, interesting stuff he was talking about earlier. I'll be taking calls for Tess at the bottom of the hour. Yeah, that's on Discord, guv.li/rant. Yeah, and we'll see you in the comments. If you want to bung us a beer, that'll be great. That'll be really great. PayPal.me/Brexit. Thank you. You can share the show, like the post, like the page itself, or stuff like that. I don't know what you do, really. That'd be great. Yeah, let folks know that we're talking, we're watching, we're thinking, we are active. Yeah. Yeah.
Ollie, why can I only just hear you?
I can barely hear you, Ollie.
Oh, blimey. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah.
only you.
What do you mean? Could you not hear the intro then?
I got some music, but as long as your voice is booming through, that's the main thing, isn't it?
I don't know what you can hear there. It may be that I should press another button for you to be able to hear more things in Discord. I don't know. And I also know that Triangle, bless him, has made a couple of changes to the layout in there in Discord. I don't know what it means, to be honest with you. But anyway, yeah. Look, if you want to call in and speak to Tess Angel, Decoy Hunter, Tess Decoy Hunter, then please do. From the bottom of the hour, guv.li/rant. We've already got a couple of folks in the green room, including Carl Stephen, who was at an event with Tess this weekend. So I'll pull him in and ask him about that as well. So yeah, okay, let's see what's going on in the world of fake stream. Yeah, okay, blimey. What's going on? What's going on? It's Israel today, isn't it? Yeah, so the Not So Independent is reporting that carnage on Gaza border as Palestinians shot dead by Israeli forces amid fury at US embassy opening. Actually, I thought I saw they mentioned well, they're saying dozens killed and thousands wounded by Israeli gunfire as protests rage. Okay, look, I'm not going to get too much into the news today. We will as the week progresses, I dare say. But anyway, yeah. Tess, if you would like to chip in at all with any points on any of this, then please, you're very, very welcome. And Colin, I want to ask you. Let's get let's go. It's Monday. Let's get this out of the way, please, Colin. What happened in blimey, where is it? Hull, yeah. So you've got some evidence of corruption now with Hull City Council.
Time.
Is that right?
Oh, big time. I've found out that all the ballot papers. What happened was...
This is for the local election count. You're talking about election fraud.
Yes. The election,
right. Go on.
The local election.
Yeah.
Basically, I stood in the local elections in Hull.
Yes.
And at 10 o'clock on the night, we all know that everything closes. Yeah, everything finishes.
Right.
Right. So what happened was, 10 o'clock on the night, there's me... 3 other people that are getting the numbers of the people that have actually voted at 3 different polling stations.
Really?
That all goes well. So election night happens, I get beaten again, no problem. I get the voters registered list from Hull City Council, and it cost me 40 odd quid to buy this.
Mm-hmm. What's that? The electoral roll?
Yeah, it's basically all the people that's voted.
Right.
Etc.
Okay.
The council has their names and basically that they've been in and voted.
Okay.
So they have a copy of everybody that's voted. So these people, it's all secret. And
Oi, whoa! Speak into your microphone, man. Please, Colin. Good man.
These people that state that it's all secret and this, that, and the other palaver. What a load of rubbish.
Well, it doesn't say which way they voted, does it?
No, it doesn't, but you can find that out. But anyhow.
Okay, all right.
I literally got the list, and I'm going through the list, and to my numbers that we had, they've got 100 people in the area, extra, that's been added. So how's the council... How's 100 people just appeared from somewhere at 10 o'clock on the night?
Hold on a sec. You're saying what happened with this 100 people?
Right. As the ballot stations close,
mm-hmm.
No one else can vote. Correct?
Yes.
They put a seal on the ballot boxes,
Hmm.
so no one else can add any more ballot papers.
Right. So
Right,
you're
that
saying
final
there's 100 more votes than are
right. That final
tallied.
figure,
Mhm.
when that person put that seal on the box, they turn around and say, right, for instance, there's been 500 people have attended today, at
Which
the polling
presumably,
station.
which I guess is done just before the count is read out. No?
Well, yeah,
That
yeah,
would
of
be when
course
it would
it
be
is.
done, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. So they then say, right, 500 people have been and voted, and that's it.
Hmm.
Yet we've got these last numbers at 10 o'clock on a night from 3 polling stations, and each of the numbers, when it's come to being where they're tipping the ballot papers out on the tables in the guild hall,
Hmm.
the different numbers. There's over up to now 200 extra people at 2 different polling stations that have just appeared. So much fiddling. So
How much difference what was the margin out of interest? I mean, just to put this into perspective and to give us an idea of the amount of fiddling that would have been necessary to sway the vote.
well, we've worked
Not
out
that
up
that
to
necessarily is the point, yeah, but I'm just trying to gauge
know.
the situation more generally.
Well, the problem is once that ballot's closed, that ballot station's closed,
Hmm.
there is no way any other people can get in.
Mm.
There is no way they can add.
Could that
any
not
more.
be an administrative mistake, Colin?
Yeah, as usual.
As usual.
Claim human error.
Especially
Human error. What is the hold on. You're talking a margin of 100 votes though, yeah? I mean that's
that one pal.
I'm surprised
Right,
it's not more, to be honest.
Up to now.
I mean, I kind of would expect this kind of thing, to be honest with you, but
Would you?
well,
I thought
yeah,
all these
I
people were
would
honest and did
pretty
fair
much.
elections.
I don't think it's excusable, but from what I've heard with Tower Hamlets and other places, it doesn't surprise me.
Well, it's surprising me, mate, that they're up
But
to now.
You're talking about 100 votes in a constituency or in a ward or what?
No, right. The wards are set up in. You have 4 or 5 ballot stations in a ward.
Right.
So in every ward, let's just say there's 4 for the amount of people.
So you're
that
talking
vote.
per ballot station, which actually is a sizable percentage.
Yes, it's quite well. If it's 4, it's 0.25%, isn't it? But that's here nor there. The problem is that the ballot stations then contribute all together. So you'll have 4 or 5 ballot stations contributing all together, and that's what makes the ward. So what they've done is, up to now, 2 separate ballot stations, have each got over 100 people extra from 10 o'clock added onto the ballots. It's impossible.
So what are you doing? So what are you doing with this evidence?
I've emailed the normal culprits at Hull City Council.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, warned them what's happening, asked them for a response. No response. So tomorrow it's go see PC Plod.
What about the Electoral Commission? Is it worth asking their opinion?
Yeah, the Electoral Commission.
At least for the record.
Can't you go talk to the councillors?
Is that what they say?
Yeah. So
really? They're not interested.
That are fiddling.
Then they're not interested in looking into it themselves.
Not one bit.
Colin, mate, thank you very much indeed for that update. Colin ran as an independent in Hull, and the usual suspects won, and our man lost. Colin, God bless you, mate. Look, I'm going to put you back in the green room. If you want to hang around and catch us around later, that would be great. I'm going to have a chat with old Tess. Well, young Tess, bless her. Sorry, Tess. Right, okay. A couple of things otherwise going on. Just wrap up the news very briefly. Express, and this is the story, really, isn't it? Italy, it looks as though they're going to get together a government, and we should have, what is it, La Liga and 5 Star Movement pulling together.
Which is going to concern the markets, particularly
a prime
actually.
minister.
Italy operates far more successfully.
A prime minister any time they should be announcing, apparently. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, but I don't know whether it's a big scam or what. We're going to have to wait and see, aren't we? But this, for example, Stop Italy Suffocating. EU faces £109 million cost of nightmare 5-star coalition. 109 million, blimey, that's the least of their worries. The European Union is preparing for an Italian assault on the bloc's unpopular austerity measures imposed on the country in 2011 as part of Brussels' controversial Save Italy economic recovery plan. Yeah, that's right. This is what they could well be taking to task, this coalition. A coalition between anti-establishment 5-star and the far right, are they? League, described before the election as the nightmare scenario, and EU leaders are now preparing for changes that could cost the bloc billions to implement. Yeah, 109 million. I'll tell you what, they haven't put that story together quite. But there is a big story there where this party, this coalition, well, I don't know. Silvio Berlusconi apparently is kind of like, some kind of a friend with this coalition. Yeah, so that doesn't bode so well. But then again, they do at least give us some hope that the demise of the EU may be brought about a little bit more quickly. So yeah, and the other story, of course, over here, Breitbart, Soros-backed Miliband and a parade of has-beens campaign to kill off Brexit. And this is Breitbart's take on the story that we're so lucky to have David Miliband come back onto our fair shores. Pro-EU globalists from Britain's 3 major parties have started a campaign to retain the strongest possible ties with the European Union, effectively derailing Brexit and continuing EU membership in all but name. Britain should remain in the European Economic Area and the single market as a supposed safe harbour. The group have formally, we know, we've heard it. And my God, I tell you, yeah. Tess, I know it's not the reason you're on here, but irrespective of your politics, be what you think about the EU and Brexit and all that, do you kind of hear the frustration from this particular journalist over here that is just really so fed up of these these folks are just, I mean, democracy is not a great system, but I mean, Struth, it's the best we got now.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, we voted out, didn't we? So, we should go with what the people wanted. Simple as, really. It's
I just wonder how far these folks can push the boat, because I don't know how far you know about the globalist side of the EU and the links, the kind of, the, if you like, frankly, the fascism, of the thing.
I'm against globalism, darling.
Well, these people are really, really trying to just create as much cheap labor as possible, and being aided and facilitated by illegal war and unfair trade around the world. And the EU itself is a protectionist trade racket. And I mean, ask the average African farmer about that, I'd have thought, and no wonder, they are being forced to uproot from their cultures, and cultures all over in havoc over it as well. And I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. But
I fully agree. Africa's one of the richest lands in the world, but obviously poorest in money. There's a reason for that. Let everyone be independent.
Yeah, we've really got the wrong people in charge, eh? We could do so much better now. We really could do so much better.
I fully agree, darling.
Well, anyway, okay, right. So, Tess Angel, Hunter Decoy. So you guys, I know you get through accounts, Facebook accounts, like other people get through socks or something.
I know, you find it hard, don't we, to keep my connections and my network. Yeah, I'm on account number 22 in the last 2 months.
22. So, so you're trying to get out the word of the child protection officers and what you do, but you're finding that Facebook is inhibiting that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how they try and silence us, but then obviously the other network, when we try and get groups shut down that have got child abuse images within them, we can mass report them for like weeks and weeks and they don't get taken down. But our accounts that are obviously just spreading awareness and the good side of things get taken down instantly.
What groups are
I've got a
left?
feeling that's got something to do with the ownership of Facebook nowadays. But
What groups are left up as opposed to which taken down, Tess?
so they disable them. They disable our accounts.
They disable your accounts, and by contrast, you said others are left. What sort of accounts are left by contrast?
Yeah, no. So the groups that obviously we try and get taken down, you know, as I say, where they've got child abuse images in, you know, we can be mass reporting those for weeks, and they don't take them down as a priority. But when our
You're
accounts
joking.
are reported, they take us down straight away.
They leave up groups with obvious child abuse.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, I understand that they give activists a hard time, but I didn't realize that it was that they also left up paedophilia online.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely they're on the other side of the fence. Let's put it that way.
Are you saying? I mean, because when people think about online paedophilia, for example, maybe they think that, you know, these folks that go, I don't know, onto Tor or something and obfuscate that way. Are you saying that now Facebook is on the front line of paedophilia online?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Because obviously, you know, what I am saying though is that they enable groups to form. Obviously, we all form our own groups. So groups that we try and get shut down. There was one, for example, that was called Boys and Their Bears. Sounds very innocent, but when you go into it, it's obviously grown men with pictures of little boys. And we'll all try and get that group shut down. And it literally took about 3 to 4 weeks of mass reporting that group. But as I say, when it's our accounts, they go down straight away. So I'll only talk on facts, Olly, that's all I can.
No, that's cool.
I can't say what their agenda is with that, but
incredible. Okay, right. So you are going around the country campaigning for various things. Tell us, first of all, please, if you would, basically what is the purpose of your group, the Child Protection Officers? Okay,
so we've got many facets to our group, but like a lot of hunting groups, we obviously decoy and hunt for, you know, for child abuse, for grooming online, basically. So what we do differently is obviously we do we do real child cases, we do awareness and education, but then obviously we're activists as well because we want the changes. Because what we've seen through the hunting community for the last couple of years is that it's all right us handing them the evidence, but as you know, with like the whistleblowers, etc. When you're handing the evidence and they're restricted so much, i.e. the police, the CPS, etc., they are not getting the convictions that we require. They're not getting them off the streets. There's a lot of reasons for that, and the frustrations that have come through that is why we're fighting for the changes.
Why?
To be fair.
Why is the CPS or the police or the social services failing?
Okay. So if I give you a bit of analysis that I did,
thank you,
in regards to the police, bless them, right? So there's 750,000 perverts that have been convicted within this country. Okay, so they're on the child sexual abuse register. That's obviously anything up to the age of grooming children up to 16, right? 250,000 of those are actual paedophiles. So they've obviously got a prepubescent conviction.
Yes.
But as of January 18, there's only 121,000 police officers. So, you know, they've got all the criminal charges that they need to sort out. So with the police, what we're finding in England, Wales and Scotland, obviously Ireland's different, is the restrictions on them, and they're frustrated enough as well. When it gets to CPS, as you well know, Olly, it becomes a budgetary issue. So obviously if they're not fully convinced that they're going to get 100% conviction, they're not going to spend however much it's going to cost on the trial. So that's why they don't take it further. So it's all restrictions that are coming from government. You know, the police numbers, they can't deal with it. That's why the hunting groups are needed. CPS can't deal with the budgets that they have. So yeah, as I say, so the changes aren't there, to be fair.
Okay, so it's coming down to budget cuts here, and that doesn't look, with what we see, for example, with the crime wave in London and elsewhere, it doesn't look as though that's a square we're going to be able to circle anytime soon. So yeah, no, sure, you guys. It seems to me the logic is that we need you folks. I mean,
They just need to redistribute them. It's
you think they could cope? You think they could cope?
Well, obviously, the 121,000 police officers is in no way going to keep their eye on 750,000 child abusers. It's not going to happen. Not when they've got all the murders, drugs, and everything else that they focus on. They need to be refocusing to the crimes that are obviously of interest and importance to us. They need to be redistributing what they do. They need to be spending less money on the way they deal with things. But so when we're saying stop persecuting the evidence bringers, i.e., the whistleblowers, the hunters, and when we're saying stop protecting the guilty, when we're spending millions of pounds on giving them new IDs so they don't get attacked, but then we can't spend that money on prevention.
Oh, blimey! Hold on a sec. Hold on. Whoa. I do apologise, Tess. I'm really sorry. The live video is stopped on Facebook.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I did tell you in the green room.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah,
oh, blimey! Oh, I had no idea. So hold on a sec. Let me restart this. Because we're going on YouTube and Axiom Curb, but it would be nice to go back out on Facebook as well, because I know a few folks were wanting to watch this. So just a sec, Tess. I do apologise. That's a pity. That's a pity, because that's some good background you just gave me, and I appreciate that. I know most people watching will probably know the background, but nonetheless. Okay, let me just set this back up. Hunter Decoy. This does happen with Facebook. It doesn't. It hasn't yet happened with YouTube. Whilst
Facebook likes to try and silence. Yeah, try and silence free speech movements. Anything that's actually going to be good for society.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. Right. So if I stop that, go into settings in my streaming software thing. And then apply that. Okay, start streaming. Hopefully that'll start coming through. Oh, what a pain. Okay. Right. Going back live on Facebook. So if you're watching an archive version, I've got Tess Angel here, decoy hunter, from the child protection officers, and telling us about the role of that group and why it's necessary and what they're actively campaigning for as well around the country. And Tess, thanks for joining us. And folks joining on Facebook, yeah, sorry, I had no idea what happened there. We got cut off. So if you could please do us a favor and share the show to let folks know that we're back on. Please share the show to let folks know we're back on. No idea why we got cut off. Facebook, no idea, really. Okay. Right. So, yeah, right, Tess. Thank you. And I'm sorry that some folks missed that very eloquent summary of why your group is so required. But I think a lot of folks, probably most folks on Facebook, know that anyway. But this is a very important point that you were getting to, please, about the fact that there are so few police handling so many potential abusers. You're saying that we're faced, this is the official stats that we know about or that have been charged. Is that correct? 750,000 convicted child abusers, i.e. 16 and under.
Up until the age of 16, yeah.
And of those, 1/3, about 250,000 are paedophiles, i.e. prepubescent offenders, or offenders of prepubescence. And we've got about 125,000 police officers, you say, that are basically looking after...
121 as of January 18, yeah.
We've got 121,000 officers that are doing specifically what?
No, we've got 121,000 police officers as of January 18.
Oh, that's all the police that we've got, right? Okay,
yeah.
Okay, fine.
That's the point, isn't it? Look, those numbers don't match in any kind of realms, do they?
Do you have any idea how many are looking out for, the future of the country, the kids? You know, I just wonder what percentage of the police force?
They literally are dealing with what's handed to them as and when, and they can deal with what's handed to them as and when because they've just not got the resources. So they're not doing any preventative measures, are they?
Okay, so you, I've seen your videos, not yours particularly, Tess, necessarily. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but of various pedophile hunting groups, and I have to say, I find it amazing how you guys conduct yourselves with such professionalism, given such an emotive topic in the very heat, on the very front line. Dealing with these folks is quite remarkable, but you do, and given that, it seems to me that there is a role that you can play for the community, and that the police should be pretty pleased. Yeah, no?
Yeah, as I say, you know, if we discount Ireland currently, the police are willing to work with us. The CPS even give us guidelines to work towards last April.
Right.
You know, to make sure that they could use our evidence in court. It's so again, as I say, when we're talking about the British side of things, you know, they're frustrated as much as we are with resources. Every time I speak to police officers up and down England, you know, they are willing to work with us. And then when they get bailed or when the defence come out with such ridiculous mitigating circumstances, which means they get off with it with no actual jail time or whatever else, they're as frustrated as we are, to be fair.
Okay, let's take a few comments. Shadow Dynamic says, unmute me. Hold on a sec. Who's that? Is that Carl? Oh, well, if that's Carl Stephen. No. Yeah, well, come in. I want Carl to pop in. Oh, Carl is there. Right. Because, okay, that brings us, let me just take a few comments and then we'll talk about this event that you guys were attending at the weekend and take it from there. So, it's James Gore, the Muslim converter. WTF are these names? Yep. Christine Ford. Hey, Chris. The child protection officers found us all finally. And apologize, everybody. We got cut off from Facebook. I don't know why. But anyway, we're streaming on both now and on Axiom Curb, I hope, as well. Dave Wolf, the EU will blame us and any other countries that leave for the economic crash that the EU has created. And he also reminds us that Hive Mind is on after this, at 8 o'clock. So in half an hour, Hive Mind, guv.li/Hive. Facebook is run by pedos for pedos, he says. That's a strong allegation, though. There is an allegation about. Go on. Go on, Tess.
Earlier, Olly, it's owned now mainly by Saudi Arabia.
What? Facebook?
I don't want to talk about their agendas.
Sorry? Facebook is?
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook.
What? They've got the most stock?
Yeah, they've got the most stock of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And go on.
Well, that's all I'm saying. So maybe
fair enough. Fair enough.
The same impetus that we do in the Western world on this subject.
Right. Okay. Well, they're not very good with women either. Dave Wolf. Oh, Ollie, just to let you know, I'll be on Facebook Live on the Hive Mind page. Cool, Dave. Sadly, I don't think the police and prison service can cope with the sheer number of criminals, he says. And John Middleton says, budget cuts ran out of trees. Our fingers have seized up to print digits. Lots of laughs. Blimey, John, I tell you. Reading your comments, mate. Yeah, so, right. So, you are actively campaigning also for a change in the law, as well as being on the front line trying to get convictions and to create awareness, Tess, you're also trying to get change in the law, And so tell me about that and the campaign for that and where you were this weekend.
Okay. So we was in Manchester this weekend. We are trying to travel all around so that we can get the message out to as many people as possible. There's a lot of apathy in regards to this subject. A lot of people don't want to discuss it, etc. But that is why silence still occurs, and this is why no one's really got the impetus to actually make the real changes. There's so many facets to this, Ollie. I know we're not going to get through it all, but I'll give you an example, right? Mm-hmm. So, in the Sexual Offences Act, right? Mm-hmm. Section 15, right, says that if you meet a child or you arrange to meet a child right, you can have up to 10 years imprisonment. Now, every case study that I've looked at, I have never got anything near that. And the reason being is all the mitigating circumstances that they allow, right? So obviously, there's so many facets to this. We want to remove the mitigating circumstances and excuses basically that we want to bring in some minimum tariffs on these charges. So for example, with section 15, okay, which is arranging to meet a child for sexual activity, okay, 10 years maximum, but there's no minimum. So we've had cases.
There's a 10-year max, but there's no minimum.
No jail time.
You're breaking up a bit, Tess. Get close to your microphone. But there's a 10-year max. There's no minimum, and there are lots of mitigating circumstances that can be applied. And you want to cut down on those mitigating circumstances, particularly what sort of thing? What sort of examples have you?
So one of our case studies, okay, where he could have received up to 10 years imprisonment, he actually got community service because his wife was depressed and he needed to look after her.
Why is that a mitigating circumstance?
Exactly. Exactly. That, you know, so there's many of these. There's many of these excuses which actually any decent person, and that obviously leads us into the other bit of analysis that we do with the people that aren't fit to hold seats. So we're looking at trend patterns as well. With
that aren't fit to hold seats. What do you mean? MPs or what? What do you mean?
So one piece of analysis was on the MPs. There are 100. Well, I won't give you the exact numbers, but there's definitely over 100 currently serving MPs that are on the child sexual abuse register.
Really?
Yeah.
100?
Now, do you want to tell me why they're holding a powerful seat?
I don't know. I mean, that Lloyd bloke, he got a seat, didn't he? He was given a shoo-in seat for Labour. That Lloyd bloke, the guy that three girls won one of the BAFTAs the other night. 3 girls. The amazing documentary about what happened in, what was it, Rochdale? And Tony Lloyd, is it Tony? I think it's Tony Lloyd. The guy that was overseeing the, basically Manchester Police, one of the guys who was covering it up, well, they pretty soon reckoned was about 1,400 cases of abuse. And now they reckon is over 2,000. And that's just Rochdale, as I understand it. Tess, tell me if I'm wrong. Correct. Rotherham, please. Yes, please correct me if I'm wrong on anything. But
yes, exactly. So,
and now he's an MP. He got a shoo-in Labour seat. That's your Corbyn Labour block. Sorry. Pardon?
Yeah, exactly,
go on, Tess.
But this
is
why they need to be listening to the evidence bringers, darling.
But you're saying there's 100 cases like that, not just 1 or 2.
Yeah, no. No, there's over 100.
In the House of Commons, 1 in 6, 1 in 6.5 MPs is a... Sorry, go on, Tess, go on. Sorry, say that again, please.
There was 164 the last time I did the analysis, but I don't know if they're currently all holding seats after this election. That's something I've got to revisit.
164.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
You've done this research. You've been analysing this.
Yeah. I'm an analyst by trade.
God bless you. God bless you. I'll tell you what. We got to discuss this more. Wow, but these stats are incredible. So you're not just talking about MPs, are you? By the sounds of it, you're going to go on and say council members and.
No. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah, it's a.
Go on.
No, not at all. I'm not.
So,
we do a lot of analysis. We've got a lot of data from a lot of avenues. There's some that obviously I don't want to divulge yet because we need some support. But yeah, you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked that this is why we need to remove these people holding these seats first before we can actually get the changes that we need. By obviously putting the minimum sentence terms in as well. So no matter what judge you get anyway, who's presiding over the case, he's got a minimum that he's got to implement, because minimum sentences are going to be really helpful. We've also got some cases that need extension in the length of sentences. So section 15A, which is from memory, it's sexual communication with a minor online.
Hold on a sec. Whoa, you broke up just there. Go on.
Yeah, it's the section 15A, which is communicating with a minor online sexually.
Right.
It actually it says in the legislation, right, that the imprisoned term is not to exceed 6 months. Well,
what?
why not? When you need to be looking at the content of what they're sending them as well.
So they can do anything online,
Yeah,
and
so
it's a
basically
6-month
they can literally communicate in
maximum.
any which way they goddamn want.
They
We've
could be
currently got it in
sexting,
the law
basically.
as it cannot exceed 6 months.
They could basically be sexting with a minor, and it would be a maximum 6 months.
Ollie. They are, and in sexting sounds in a polite way of doing it from what our decoys see. They are vile. Some of them are incestuous. Some of them are, bestiality. Some of them want to harm, threaten, murder, harass. But actually, you still got a maximum. It cannot exceed 6 months.
Okay, just as an aside, I want to go through some of the other points that you're campaigning for. But as an aside, one thing that blimey, I mean, it does appear from what we read, from what we see, to be an overwhelming problem, considerably. I mean, relative to the degree of problem that we felt we had, for example, at the time of Jimmy Savile's death, or maybe a couple of years after. Now the problem clearly is a lot bigger. Given that, than we thought, most of us, stupid as we were, or naive, or whatever. But given that's
the point of why masses need to know this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. How could the prisons cope if, for example, there were a minimum jail time of, say, 2 years for, or I don't know.
Yeah, but we're also fighting for alternative rehabilitation, Ollie. So
right, okay, carry on.
Carry
on.
No, it's fine. It's such a vast subject, but obviously the psychology behind it isn't understood either.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're getting cut up again. You're getting broken up there, Tess.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, look, we need to break it down into parts anyway. And one of the parts is understanding the psychology behind paedophilia, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of it being such a taboo subject, there needs to be help for them, because it is a mental health disorder, to obviously go and voluntarily get help. Now, our studies suggest that actually that would be quite a lot of people that would genuinely go and get help if there was help available, i.e. voluntary chemical castration. Okay.
Yes.
One of the other things that we're campaigning for, off the studies off the back of America, okay, is mandatory chemical castration for all reoffenders. To be fair, and that's reoffenders of child abuse. Okay. So part of the rehabilitation plans and what they've proved is that if you turn the paedophiles that have got an attraction and a disposition to prepubescent children, if you turn them asexual, then actually there's no urge for them to act on.
Right.
So that would already reduce your numbers by hundreds of thousands.
That does work, does it?
Yeah, it's been proven in a 5-year study in Florida. It works to change them asexual. So basically, it's not going to work for all child abuse, okay? Because some of them just do it for other reasons, okay? But the ones that are true paedophilia, the ones that have true urges that they suppress for most of their life, and then feel that they have to act on it. So when they molest a child because of these desires and urges, okay, you can remove their desires and urges. So say it's not going to, remove all child abusers and all. But it is going to make a real massive dent in the numbers. People that are, doing it because of the overwhelming urges.
Okay. We've got Carl Stephen popped in and Mickey. Carl, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, loud and clear. Hello, Ollie and Tess. How are you doing?
Carl, thanks for being patient. You got, so Tess popped in on Friday and Carl was here on Friday. And so Carl went to Manchester with Tess and checked out. So how did it go, Carl? What were the numbers? Tell me what your take was, your summary of the event. How successful is the getting the awareness out? What could be done better? Whatever. What was your take out from Manchester?
I turned up just after 2 o'clock. It wasn't starting till 3 o'clock. Was sat down at the front on the benches, and so I just introduced myself, saying who I was, because myself before my son turned up, and it might look a bit strange. And no, it's good. There was probably 70 to 80 activists part in the demo. They had some children, 12 to 14. So, because I was using the camera, that was a bit tricky, because obviously we have to keep the children off the camera. But it was really good. The kids were actually enjoying going out, and they actually knew what they were doing, which is quite amazing. So
Who did?
Yeah, well
Who
done
did?
to the parents. But it was the children's parents who were
Mhm.
there on the demo.
Yeah.
The children actually knew what they were there and what they were doing, and knew about the subject as well. For anybody who's 12 to 14 years of age and to be that clued up, it was quite nice to see, to be honest with you.
It's interesting to hear that Tess is an analyst and that she's come up with these stats of at least 100 MPs being on the child offenders register. Is that correct, Tess? And possibly as many as 164 before the last election. Is that right, Tess?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. That, I mean, it just Carl. Did you have any idea of that?
I was aware the numbers were over the hundreds. I didn't realise it could be going up a lot more. But they're the ones who've been caught and you know about as well, isn't it, Ollie? What about the ones that
Thank you, Carl. Exactly my
haven't
point.
been caught? That's the an issue and a problem.
I'll tell you, I never cease to be amazed at what a thickie that I feel. The folks come on here and put me right. I had no idea that the scale in Westminster remained at that kind of height still. No wonder they're suppressing the the IICSA, huh? For all they can. Tess.
No, exactly. And as Carl quite rightly pointed out, this is conviction data. Now, how many came forward and weren't believed? How many went to trial and didn't get a conviction? And how many just haven't spoken out yet?
Ken Dodd says the problem is decoys aren't real. Children, the sentence is adjudicated on this, which is why sentences are minor. Miss Buttercup doesn't agree with you.
That's not a true and valid point, to be fair, at all, because actually, we follow full entrapment guidelines, and actually, as what we do in our team is we work on real child investigations as well that the police haven't worked on, and actually, it's the same kind of numbers. It's the same kind of sentencing for real children, and also the police have even turned around to us and said, in the last 2 years alone, they've had an increase of 70% of their convictions due to our work. So actually, what we are doing is helping it increase, and this is still the level it's at.
Tess, I have to say, sorry, Cole, go on.
Do you know that Tess and the fractions, what they go through a court case, and a judge agreed that because they were people and it wasn't a corporation or a business, they were right in what they were doing the citizens' arrest. Now, this is going back to court in October.
What's that?
What happens,
sorry, Carl, I didn't.
What happens?
Go on. What was that again? What's going on?
It goes back to court in October. Well,
does?
Tess can tell Tess. Can you tell them about the court case and what it involves, and then it's going back again in October?
Okay.
Yeah. So what Carl's referring to is last April, a High Court judge agreed to basically the police used to do decoy work. So before the Conservatives got in and reduced all the budget cuts, the police used to do decoy work. The police used to do preventative measures.
Right.
They had to stop because their budgets. This is when the community started to obviously, we started to kick off, etc.
Right.
So they started to try and say what that guy was saying earlier, or you're not real children, etc. Okay. It went.
Hold on, you're breaking up, Tess. You're breaking up. You go on.
Hear me.
The police, they started to say, right, yep.
Last April, a High Court judge, agreed that we could do our work if we followed the exact entrapment guidelines and the CPS guidelines needed for conviction, So we do that. They gave us until October of this year, and it's going back to court in October this year.
Okay. I mean, I do notice, looking at some of the comments, that your community is a little bit divided. And as somebody who's kind of pretty actively involved in the Brexit community, then I understand divided communities. Yeah. It's very, very frustrating.
It's the same anywhere.
Are you divided because of the silly human things that we have, like egos and stuff like that? Or are you divided because you're actually being infiltrated by maybe a state that actually doesn't really want this problem to,
one thing that we're all united on.
One
thing we're all united on is that they want these vermin off the streets. They want them locked up, and we want to keep our children and our children's innocence safe. That's what
Good.
everyone's united on.
Good.
Then obviously, as in
yeah.
any kind of company, community, in anything at all, you are then going to get personality clashes. You are going to get ego clashes, etc. You are going to get some people that may be in it for the wrong reasons, etc.
Sure.
But you know what? Everyone's uniformed in keeping the kids safe.
Yeah. Chris, go on, Carl.
Can I ask a question to Tess again?
Yeah, please do, mate.
Goes ahead in October, and if the judge rules against you working as the body, and even with the rules and regulations, what happens to all the convictions you've made already? Would they have to be quashed? So if they're doing time, they'd be set free?
Well, no, because no. From my understanding, I mean, you can't really talk for what agendas they might have, but from my understanding, at the end of the day, right, they've got watertight evidence. They've used the evidence in a court of law. They've been convicted in a court of law. The jury's convicted them on watertight evidence. So that conviction has got to stand, surely. And nothing's been said to us, and against that. To be fair.
Okay, thank you. Let's hope so. Let's hope it stays and it doesn't get messed about with.
No, exactly.
Chris Michael Baxter says, "Do people really believe the police and government can turn evil? Don't they understand that they live in a democracy with several other Islamic democratic nations?"
Karen, it's not turning evil though, is it? It's when the good people don't do nothing and don't say anything and allow the rotten eggs to poison everything.
You're absolutely right. That's what Jefferson said, wasn't he? He said a few good men standing idly by will be, what facilitates tyranny, basically, paraphrase. Ken Dodd says that was and
all the people that was against it stood up, then actually all the people trying to suppress it would be the minority and not have the loudest voice.
So Tess, how much awareness is there, or rather how much needs to be done, and how much of an uphill battle is the media, or is it beginning to cooperate? Okay,
well, mainstream media have always got a slant for their agenda, haven't they? I don't need to explain that to you. So yeah, it's hard at the moment because they keep labeling us as vigilantes, but as you know, we are evidence bringers. It's the same really with the whistleblowers that are getting their lives turned upside down, fake charges, etc., to try and keep them silent. So mainstream media, it's not really very helpful at the moment, you've got to say. And to be fair, it's good to keep society ignorant to these issues because obviously they don't want civil unrest, do they? But actually, society to be aware of the actual issues. So actually, as we say, they can all use their voice and overpower the ones trying to keep everything silenced.
And you said just a few minutes ago that the police were cooperating with you pretty much. Really? I mean, for example, when Shane came on, Shane Brannigan, on the show, and you no, when he came on the first time, because you were on with him last time, Tess, and we got cut off. But anyway, or I know, but your audio was terrible. Anyway, but when he came on, he was telling me that the police, they were not very cooperative. But you're saying that they are. I mean, are you being diplomatic or?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Look, we have problems in Northern Ireland with the PS9. We have problems with Southern Ireland with the Gardaí, right? But if you're talking on a general basis in England, the police are as frustrated as we are. Their hands are tied in a lot of instances. Now, where this becomes
that's good to hear. That's really good to hear. That's encouraging. Anyway, sorry, go on. Go on.
No, it is, because at the end of the day, Olly, right, it's an emotive subject. So you can understand, right, when the police are coming and they can only deal with what's in front of them at the time. If you've got someone that actually is within their emotions and they're trying to deal with police with emotions, okay, then you're going to feel like there's a backlash, or you're going to feel like they're against you.
Sure, yeah.
Okay? But if you deal with them in a professional manner, you will understand that it's actually not that person in front of you with the issue, that actually it's bureaucracy, actually it's red tape, and actually these are the things that we need to be changing, not the individual coppers, not the individual, police forces, etc.
Hey, give me hope. Give me hope. That's hopeful, Carl. Okay, right. William Davis, people stand by, happen to been bought, been choked by money, or get a knighthood, Ollie. And John Middleton says, what if Noah's flood happened again and you are the chosen ones? Cover to replenish. No, that's the mouthful of marbles downworld. It's supposed to have happened in the past and also it's a falsehood. John Middleton's truth. How do you construct these sentences and expect me to read them? Oh, blimey. Miss Buttercup, how do you do that when you get trolled and bullied? I don't think that Miss Buttercup likes you, Tess, and I don't know. I mean, it is.
No. She's got a valid. No. She's got a valid point, Ollie. No, she's got a valid point.
Go on.
You know, so
okay.
One of the things that is really hard, and I'll talk from a personal opinion here, is I've been trolled for months. You know, people try and push you out from doing this work.
Yes.
And they try and ruin your actual real life, so that you can't continue the work that you do.
How many trolls do you are you encountering at the moment on average?
Yeah.
Is it really not very nice?
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like I've had my life threatened. I've had my children threatened. I've had trumped up charges put on me. You know, falsified statements made. This isn't.
So what happened when you had charges leveled against you? What happened? Did you have to defend yourself to the police or?
On me in January. Obviously, nothing's happened because there's no fucking evidence. Sorry for swearing.
Sorry. Oh, Tess.
Yeah, it's just relentless, darling.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. Blimey. Aye. I'll tell you, it's truth. It's so frustrating, isn't it? It's so frustrating. We have so many activists across different fields. It could be this. It could be talking about, say, chemtrails and stuff. Something very, very different. Not as important as kids, but yeah, you breathe it in. Yeah, it's pretty important too. And God knows what's going on with all these things. G5, whatever. And the activists get, and the media doesn't really help, does it? Doesn't really help. Yeah. Okay, so what other measures, Tess, are you particularly looking to overturn? We've got another 3 minutes or so before we need to wind down. So what other measures particularly are you saying? Look, we got to deal with that.
Yeah. Okay. So we want, obviously, just bear with me. We want the minimum sentences. We want obviously some increase in sentences, etc. I want mandatory chemical castration for reoffenders. We want, So another one as well, which is quite new, is a lot of preteen offenders are getting bailed. So we're looking to get an auto remand for those as well. But really, when it comes to the alternative rehabilitation, that's gonna be able to fight their moan about the budgets and how much it costs, because actually there's preventative measures in there, but there's also other ways of doing things. And when they're also on another side to it, when they're segregating them in
one sec, Tess, hold that thought. Yeah. Hold that thought. With regards the sterilization debate as opposed to therapy for genuine pedophiles or molesters of people who want to, what are you hearing from, if you like, the whispering, Westminster circles or whatever, about their take on that debate? Are they talking, for example, much about therapy?
I think this is going to be the strongest one, to be fair, Ollie, because when we're talking pounds and pence, it's going to be cheaper to do this, but it's also going to be more effective.
Cheaper to do what?
It's going to be one of the easiest ones. And they have started to give a voluntary pill to them.
Right.
It's not the measures that are needed, but it's the tiny little steps into the right direction. So they have started.
So they are looking at it. They're doing something.
They're not. Yeah, not yet, but yeah.
Go on. Sorry, they're giving that pill. So they're doing something, but they're they're looking at the journey as opposed to taking it. They're dipping their toes in the water.
Exactly. Yeah, they're dipping the toes.
Okay, you were going to say about the prisons, I think.
Yeah. So another part is obviously, it costs £38,000 per annum to keep the child abusers segregated in prison, which is higher than the general population. Now, there's a few issues to this. Obviously, they're building their own networks. So instead of the ones that were suppressing their urges and thinking I'm all alone in this, etc., they're building a network to obviously think, oh, this is all right. And then obviously our reoffend rate in this country is high now.
Yes, and they're coming out too early because the minimum is ridiculous. There isn't.
Yes, but they've also but they're also being able to build a network by being segregated.
They're building a network.
Than being general population, so it's more expensive to segregate them and actually gives them future higher reoffend rates. Put them into general population and be a bit cheaper.
Put them into what? Sorry, put them into what, Tess?
The general population, general prison population.
Right. Okay.
Stop protecting them.
Yeah.
Stop protecting them.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Basically,
not protecting them.
Yeah.
And when you are protecting them, you help them build a network.
Yes.
So save that money.
Do you think that
put them into the general.
Putting them in isolation, is that a politically correct thing? I mean,
well, it's not isolation. They put them in. They put them in segregation with other offenders,
like themselves that aren't basically going to take them in the showers any more than they want or something.
No, yeah, fine. Yes, so it's easy to protect them, but what they're doing by protecting them is helping them build a network. So
exactly. No, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, to be honest with you, it reminds me all of this whole debate. We are going to have to wrap now, Tess. But it does remind me of that. Not, I don't know if you remember that. Not you. Maybe you're younger, my dear. But not the 9 o'clock news. The what was it? The football hooligan sketch or something. Or what are you going to do? We need to cut off their ghoulies. Oh, blimey. But Tess, you got a much nicer idea than cutting off their ghoulies. I don't know.
Do you know what though? It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I understand how to actually make changes, and that human rights would never allow us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. She more sensible. Yeah.
Yeah, let's actually try and get some of these things changed rather than living in the emotive opinions, because when you deliver the emotive opinions, you can just deal with facts and how they can save money as well. It's going to be more, hopefully more.
But Tess, keep talking into that mic. But but the problem is that they want to dissuade from their own crimes. Don't they? That's what it seems like with for example, the grooming gang that was subject of BAFTA award-winning 3 girls. It's like they don't care because it distracts from the kind of scum that you were talking about at the top of the show with these 100 MPs.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I did that analysis in October, Olly, and in October there was 164 of them.
Would you please send me that? I'd very much like to look at that.
I'm not at the. Yeah, I will do, because obviously we'll keep in contact. I'm just not willing to release that data at the moment because obviously what we're trying to do is garner as much support from MPs to actually make the real changes. So what we've got to do is go to all the people that we know aren't on this list, for example, or aren't in close connection with people in this list, and try and build the numbers up of people against it over these numbers, etc. Olly, are we offline?
I'm going to close up now. Tess Angel, God bless you, and please come back on. She'll be back on. Tess Angel, Hunter Decoy. This has been Daily Chaos for Monday, and I'm Olly Connelly. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 with Caroline Stevens tomorrow. She quit Unity in Action. She says that political parties are useless, basically. And so she is, parties are dead. She's doing something else. 650 independent MPs she's putting together for the next general election. Caroline Stevens is going to be talking about that tomorrow. Tess, thank you so much. Carl Stephen, thanks for joining us as well. And thanks to Colin Worrell for popping in. And Tess will be back on the show. God bless her. Thank you, Tess.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. And thank you, Hunters. Thank you. A lot of us really, we appreciate you, very much. God bless you. Ciao.